the world held its breath. In living rooms, city squares, and offices across the globe, people stopped what they were doing, glued to screens as the news broke. The sense of unease was palpable, a collective anxiety settling over millions as they realized something historic and terrifying was unfolding. For years, Israel and Iran fought a quiet war: spies, cyber attacks, targeted strikes. This was a conflict waged in the shadows, with intelligence operatives and hackers playing a deadly game of cat and mouse. Most of the world barely noticed as the struggle simmered beneath the surface, hidden from public view. But now, that shadow war has exploded into the open. The covert operations have given way to open hostilities, and the world can no longer look away. Drones fill the night sky. Missiles streak across borders, leaving trails of fire and smoke. The air is thick with the sound of sirens and the distant rumble of explosions. The attacks are direct, public, and terrifying. Civilians scramble for safety, families huddle in shelters, and emergency responders race through the chaos, risking their lives to save others. This is no longer a hidden conflict. It's a dangerous new chapter, one that threatens to spiral out of control. The world watches as two Middle Eastern powers clash openly, and the consequences are immediate. Leaders scramble to respond, and ordinary people everywhere feel the shockwaves. Shockwaves ripple through the global economy. Stock markets tremble. Oil prices surge overnight, sending energy costs soaring. Suddenly, the cost of living rises everywhere. Fuel, groceries, daily essentials. Families feel the pinch as prices climb and uncertainty grows about what tomorrow will bring. This isn't just a regional fight, it's a global crisis. Supply chains are disrupted and the flow of goods slows to a crawl. Every missile launched costs millions. Every jet scrambled adds to the bill. The financial toll mounts with every passing hour. Israel's Iron Dome and advanced defense systems are technological marvels, but incredibly expensive. Each interception is a victory, but it comes at a staggering price. Firing interceptor missiles to stop incoming rockets costs a fortune. The resources required are immense, and the pressure on both sides is relentless. In just days, both nations spend billions. The cost of war is measured not just in lives but in treasure. This level of spending is unsustainable, raising questions about how long either side can keep fighting. Economists warn of long-term damage, and military leaders face impossible choices. The economic damage goes far beyond military budgets. Businesses shut down, airspace closes, the rhythm of daily life is shattered, trade and travel grind to a halt, foreign investment dries up, the world's interconnected economy feels the strain, investors flee for safer ground, tourism vanishes, the ripple effects reach every corner of the globe, historic sites and beaches stand empty, once bustling destinations are now silent, their future uncertain. The economic foundations of both nations are shaken, currencies fluctuate wildly, and construction projects stall. Modern warfare is a battle of economies as much as armies. The struggle is fought not just on the battlefield, but in boardrooms and banks. The costs are staggering and growing. Every day the price of conflict rises, with no end in sight. This is the new reality, a war that neither side can afford. Families brace for hardship, and leaders search desperately for solutions. The world is more connected than ever, and the pain spreads fast. No nation is immune to the fallout. The question is no longer who will win, but how much everyone will lose. The true cost of this conflict is measured in shattered lives and lost opportunities. The stakes have never been higher. Decisions made in the coming days will shape the world for years to come. This is a conflict that threatens not just nations but the global order itself. The very fabric of international stability is at risk, and it's a battle that may have no winners. As the world watches, the hope for peace grows ever more urgent. Let's talk numbers. When it comes to modern warfare, the costs are almost unimaginable, stretching far beyond what most people realize. A single night of defense for Israel can cost over $1 billion. Jet fuel, munitions, and interceptor missiles. Every sortie, every launch, every refueling run adds up, draining national resources at a staggering pace. Each Iron Dome missile can cost up to millions. Hundreds are fired in hours. The price of protecting civilians from incoming rockets quickly multiplies, turning defense into a financial arms race. Iran's attack, while cheaper per drone, still costs hundreds of millions, money it can't spare. Even so-called affordable weapons add up, straining already tight budgets and diverting funds from urgent domestic needs. Every dollar spent on war is a dollar not spent on schools, hospitals, or infrastructure. The opportunity cost is enormous. Future generations pay the price when education and healthcare are neglected. The economic pain isn't just in hardware. Missiles close airports, halting the flow of people and goods, and paralyzing entire industries overnight. Ben Gurion Airport's shutdowns cost millions in lost trade and tourism. Businesses suffer, travelers are stranded, and the ripple effects are felt across the economy. Shipping lanes become dangerous, insurance costs skyrocket. Global companies reroute or delay shipments, and the cost of doing business rises for everyone. Global trade slows, prices rise everywhere. Everyday essentials become scarce, and markets react with volatility, shaking investor confidence. Mobilization drains the workforce. Doctors, engineers, business owners pulled from their jobs. The absence of skilled professionals leaves critical gaps in society. Productivity drops, labor shortages grow, factories slow down, shops struggle to stay open, and the economy loses momentum with each passing day. The longer the conflict, the deeper the economic wounds. Recovery becomes harder, and the scars of war linger long after the fighting stops. War is a hidden tax, eroding a nation's strength from within. Families struggle to make ends meet, and public infrastructure crumbles under the weight of neglect. The true cost isn't just in bombs, but in lost opportunity and shattered livelihoods. Dreams are put on hold, and entire communities are left to pick up the pieces. This is the price of modern war, a bill paid not just in dollars, but in futures lost and lives forever changed. Israel's economy is a high-tech powerhouse, often called Silicon Wadi, a nod to Silicon Valley. The country's tech sector is the beating heart of its economic success, driving growth, innovation, and global influence. Billions in foreign investment pour in every year, attracted by world-leading innovation and cutting-edge defense systems. Israeli startups and tech giants alike are magnets for global capital, and the nation's military technology is among the most advanced on the planet. But this remarkable strength is also a source of vulnerability. The very openness and dynamism that fuel Israel's tech boom make it sensitive to shocks. High-tech industries thrive on stability and investor confidence. When war erupts, both are shattered, leaving uncertainty in their wake. Investors get nervous, money leaves the country, projects are put on hold or canceled outright. The flow of capital that once seemed endless can dry up overnight. Engineers, developers, and entrepreneurs are called up for military service, halting innovation and stalling the progress of promising startups. The creative energy that once filled offices is redirected to the front lines. The engine of Israel's prosperity is highly sensitive to chaos and disruption. Even short-term instability can have long-lasting effects. The war in Gaza has already cost tens of billions of dollars. A direct conflict with Iran would be far more devastating, both financially and socially. Defense spending soars to unprecedented levels, while tax revenues fall as businesses struggle. Budget deficits balloon, putting immense pressure on the government. Painful cuts to education, healthcare, and social services inevitably follow, affecting everyday life for millions of Israelis. Israel's prosperity, built over decades, could erode quickly if the crisis deepens. Construction halts, businesses close, and unemployment rises. International trade is vital. Imports, exports, and global partnerships keep the economy running. Israel's connections to the world are its lifeline. War disrupts shipping lanes, isolates the economy, and chokes off growth. Global partners may hesitate to do business in a conflict zone. Israel has survived many conflicts before, but a sustained war with Iran would be a new and unprecedented kind of threat, one that could test the nation's resilience to its limits. The glass house of Israel's economic miracle may not withstand a storm of this scale. The very foundations of its success are at risk. Economic endurance will be tested as never before. The choices made now will shape Israel's future for generations. The stakes are nothing less than everything Israel has built, its prosperity, its innovation, and its place in the world. Iran's economy is built on oil, not technology. Oil exports fund the government, the military, everything. But sanctions have already crippled Iran's economy. Inflation is sky high, the currency is collapsing, and unemployment is rampant. Life is a daily struggle for millions. The government sells oil in secret, but it's not enough. War would make things far worse. Iran's oil infrastructure, refineries, pipelines, export terminals, is a prime target. A successful strike could shut down oil exports overnight. The government's main revenue would vanish. Economic collapse would follow, paying soldiers and funding the war would become impossible. The pain for ordinary Iranians would be unbearable. Even without direct attacks, tougher sanctions and global isolation would tighten the vice. The government might print money, risking hyperinflation. Iran's regime is resilient, but a full-scale war could push it to the breaking point. It's a gamble for survival with terrible odds. The cost: national ruin. This conflict threatens the entire global economy. The Middle East holds much of the world's oil. The Strait of Hormuz is a vital artery. If disrupted, oil prices could double or triple overnight. Energy costs would soar worldwide. Fuel, transport, manufacturing, everything. Inflation would spike, slowing growth and risking global recession. Financial markets would plunge, investors flee to safe havens. Credit would tighten, businesses would struggle, and governments would face new crises. Global supply chains, already fragile, would be thrown into chaos. Shipping becomes dangerous, air routes reroute, goods are delayed or scarce. The prosperity of the interconnected world becomes a source of vulnerability. Economic pain would spread to every corner of the globe. No one would be spared from the fallout. The world's stability hangs in the balance. The true cost of war is measured in human lives. Cities bombed, homes and hospitals destroyed, thousands killed or wounded. Psychological trauma would haunt millions. Economic collapse would trigger a humanitarian crisis. In Iran, poverty would deepen. Families couldn't afford food or medicine. Healthcare would collapse. Disease and malnutrition would spread. In Israel, jobs would vanish, businesses fail, and the social safety net would fray. The war would create a massive refugee crisis, millions fleeing to neighboring countries. Jordan, Turkey, Iraq, already strained, would be overwhelmed. The crisis would spill across borders, destabilizing the region and sparking new waves of migration. The scars of war would last for generations. No economic or strategic gain can justify this suffering. War would destroy a generation and fuel cycles of hatred and violence. Leaders must ask, is this a price worth paying? The answer in human terms is always no. The cost is too high. Some say Israel and Iran are tougher than they look. Israel has survived wars, has US support, and a culture of resilience. Its tech sector adapts, even in crisis. The government manages emergencies well. Iran's regime has endured sanctions and unrest for decades. It's built a resistance economy and a network of proxies to project power. Both nations have learned to survive hardship. But resilience has limits. Even the toughest glass can shatter. Resilience can't overcome the crushing cost of modern war. Israel's billion-dollar defense nights and economic paralysis are unsustainable. American aid isn't limitless. Public patience will run out. Social unity will fray. Protests will grow and the economy will buckle. Iran's resistance economy is survival, not strength. War would sever its last economic lifelines, risking total collapse. Popular unrest could overwhelm the regime. Russia and China may offer words but not salvation. Both nations would be pushed past their breaking points. In the end, neither can afford to win or survive a long war. The conclusion is clear: neither Israel nor Iran can afford a full-scale war. Israel's economy would be shattered, its prosperity lost. Iran's regime would risk collapse, its people plunged into disaster. The global economy would suffer. Oil crises, market turmoil, supply chain chaos. Every person on the planet would feel the pain. The stakes are too high for everyone. De-escalation and diplomacy are the only rational paths. War leads only to ruin for both nations. The winner would be the last to collapse. True victory lies in peace, not destruction. The cycle of attacks must be broken before catastrophe strikes. Leaders must recognize this is a war that cannot be won and must not be fought. The only sane choice is to step back from the brink.